Hello there, what is going on, everyone? Today we're talking about Savage Opress and more coming to Star Wars Legion. If you guys are new here to the channel, there's still a little bit of time left to enter to win the latest $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. Let me know who you want to see next and who you think is coming with Star Wars Legion's next kind of reveals, because we've got some of those to talk about today. The first of which being this big bad bonkers boy himself, the son of Dathomir, the Night Brother went from good to bad and back again. Well, not really. Maybe he is now in the spirit realm. But it's Savage Opress. Some photos coming out of Gen Con that were shared in my Discord, and I've seen them out and about. This was a big surprise at this past weekend's Gen Con celebration in Indianapolis. Of course, biggest board game sort of event of the year for a lot of us here in the United States. It's a massive convention, and Asmodee usually has a presence. And in the glass case there, as a surprise to most of us, was Savage Opress himself, big, large, monstrously big guy on a standard Legion base. Almost looks a little too big for that base. And it's weird. My first reaction was that he looks a little off. And I think that might be because of his size, because he's a larger character. It'd be nice to have him in hand. It'd be nice to have him in hand right now. As a matter of fact, yes. Yes, it would. It'd be really nice to have him in hand right now. Or maybe you use two hands because he's so big. But no, he looks really cool. I'm digging that. I'm digging that facial look to him, and he's not the only one coming. So here, let's zoom in a little bit. Look at his face. Look at that look on that guy. Honestly, this is an excellent paint job, especially the work on the face, and which is really a very cool thing to do. I love the work that they've done on the metallics there on the armor as well. For a character that's mostly dressed in black, it can be challenging to kind of add detail to the black. So excellent job on the paint up of this miniature. Very cool. I actually, this is one of those times where a tactical rock kind of works, because otherwise, he'd be off the base. And of course, it's going to have to work, because you're not going to have an option to run him without the tactical rock, or you're going to have to get very, very creative. Is probably the other option, because he's not just standing there, which actually brings up something I was talking about in Discord the other day. I would love to see Atomic Mass Games do more, and this may be an unpopular opinion, so let me know if you disagree. I'd love to see them do more standard poses of characters with like both feet on the ground, kind of almost like chessboard style, like standing in like a very iconic and recognizable way. And the reason for that is to save the more dynamic poses, because this one's fairly dynamic, and we've seen some that are really like over the top, like people jumping lightsaber like behind their back in mid swing, kind of crazy stuff like Anakin Skywalker's reprinted version is one of those that's very dynamic. Yoda with the jumping pose, very dynamic, right? Save those for maybe alternate or convention exclusives or limited times or promotional 30th anniversary kind of special event ones. I feel like there's only so much time that this game has left before we start running out of recognizable characters to do. And as such, there's just gonna become the eventuality that you have to kind of divide up between doing like deeper dive characters, or then also doing redoing existing characters. And one cool way to do those is have alternate new cool sculpts, and it's a way to like refresh them and stuff like that. Like kind of like what you're seeing with the hardware refresh that they're doing now. And I think it'd be kind of cool to have like to start off like that first Boba Fett, like all of the Boba Fett sculpts to me, I wasn't a big fan of, primarily because while they're dynamic and crazy, like most of the time when we see Boba Fett, at least in the trilogy, he's like standing there as like rifles at the ready, and he's kind of just like being solemn, kind of standing still, looking badass, just kind of like, yeah, I'm here in case things go crazy. I'm here. But like all of our sculpts for Boba Fett are like he's flying and he's jumping through the air shooting, or he's stepping up and swinging, like, and at least the old man Boba Fett, that one is we see that on screen. But you know, and I'm like I'd like just a simple Boba Fett, and maybe I'm in the minority there. Would you like a kind of a standard, just kind of standing still version of Boba Fett, or you know, these are things that I think about. You know, I like having the option. You know, especially if maybe I want to do some kit bashes and stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool to have certain poses available, and then keep the dynamic poses for the reprints. And so you make your flashiest stuff. Because if you do all your wild and crazy poses right now, where can you go from there? You can't like do another version of Savage Opress and just have him kind of standing there with his hands behind his back, right? You know, so you have to keep kicking it up a notch and kicking it up a notch, and you can't, you know, if you start at 9, you know, you only can go to 10 after that. You can't go down to an 8, you know, like on a scale of 1 to 10. Anyway, I'm way off topic. Let's get back to Savage Opress. This is very exciting. Now, we did see Savage Opress spoiled in artwork. So we know that there is going to be some generic command cards and cards for Shadow Collective coming with him. So presumably, he will be functionable in the Shadow Collective, which is, I'm sure, something that we're going to see. So this is also a nice boon for Shadow Collective players, because they're also going to be getting Hondo Anaka, who is also actually just featured just off center, you know, to the side here. And so we're going to be seeing Hondo Anaka. We're going to be seeing a bunch of Weequay pirates and that Weequay tank. So we're getting all of that kind of stuff, which is cool. Savage Opress also is going to be cool. There's also more like where he's coming. An interview with Gray Squadron Gaming today that was posted yesterday. And it basically they had a lot of great questions for Will, and one of the things they talked about is that he's going to be coming in a 4-pack. That'll have Dooku and Asajj and him and somebody else. And somebody else that's unrevealed. And so let the speculation begin, right? So that's where I come in. And of course, I can think of, there's only one clear answer on who that would be. If it's somebody that's unannounced, it's not a reprint, so it's a new character. And if it's a leader or a hero for the Separatists, I feel like we're going in a direction where it has to be Mother Talzin. Let me know what you think down in the description below. Yes, I know she's not a Separatist. She's not a Separatist, sure. For most of this guy's time, he wasn't a Separatist either, right? There was a time when Mother Talzin worked with Count Dooku and was friendly with him. It just makes sense because, again, you want to be able to get... I could see her being a mercenary that could work for Separatists. I could see... I mean, frankly, they have to be able to do a Dathomir battle force. I've talked about this before. It writes itself. There's so much there, especially with the video games giving so much more exposure to this stuff. It's going to sell like firecrackers. Maybe that's a bad word for that, because no, I'd buy more of these than I would of firecrackers. Like hot pancakes. No, it's going to sell... what would it sell like? Like hot potatoes? There's a word that I just can't wrap my tongue around right now. But I think it would do very well. I think it would be very popular. I think it'd have a lot of shelf appeal to see like Night Sisters, Night Brothers, zombies, maybe a Rancor, Mother Talzin. You've already got Maul. You've already got Savage Opress. You've already got Asajj Ventress. Maybe Maul doesn't even work with Dathomir. Of course it should. But like this is a way for you to kind of do that dream Dathomirian battle force. You can even take characters from the video games. This is an opportunity to bring in Cal Kestis and all of the characters that we see in Dathomir when he goes there. Marin and that other crazy old guy, and all the Night Brothers and their axes, and you can have archers and you can have swords and then zombies and you can have magic, and it's so good. And of course they've already done Night Sisters in Shatterpoint, so. I'm sure there's like already been, some art assets commissioned and things like that. So that's an exciting thing. Of course, it just means that's one more kind of faction we're going to get before there's another faction that I push for. I'm not really supposed to name anymore because there's rumor is every time that Misa names it gets pushed back. I was like, oh yeah, moi, we can't have that. So I'm not going to name the faction, but you can guess which one down and below that we're really, really waiting on. Gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm not supposed to name this faction because every time I name the faction, my dogs start barking, and Will Schick says, push them back another year. So that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.